Hi, this is Jason Romero, success and resilience expert and the first and only blind person to run across America. Coming to you again today with another episode, and today's episode is about no limit living. Specifically, I want to talk about limits because I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and it was interesting because when I speak with people, I always say I believe everything and anything is possible. And immediately, this friend told me, no, that's not true. People aren't capable of doing anything. And that is something that really strikes me. And it goes to the core, I believe, of who we are and how we approach life. And that is specifically whether we believe there are limits and accept that as a pretense, as a core belief, or whether we believe there are no limits to our humanity, to ourselves, to our dreams. And I choose the latter and not the former. And this is one of those things when I'm confronted with this situation or this thought pattern. And I've had this thought pattern in my life in the past, and I've subscribed to it when I was younger. But I got to tell you, what I realized after my experience of running across America and going through that entire process of trying to train up, figure out how to do this, being obedient to a calling. This wasn't even my desire. I was being obedient to something that I thought was larger than me. And I went and did it. And in my estimation, I would have thought that was impossible. Well, guess what? The impossible is possible. I've experienced that. And actually, the truth is, we all experience that. I think what's really important, though, is as we confront different things in life or different goals, dreams, or different problems, a lot of times we subscribe to limits as a way to short circuit and not even make an attempt to overcome. And that's an issue. That's a big issue that we all need to look deep within ourselves, because when we do that, we subscribe to limits on the front end, we've quit before we've even tried. And that is a tragedy. That's a travesty in living life, because we're really not living life. What we're doing is we're just throwing in the towel before we've even tried. So I want to give you some tips that I've come up with about no limit living and share some thoughts on that. Number one, choose to believe. Choose to believe there are no limits for yourself. Now, this is just a choice. It's a conscious choice. It takes a split second to choose. Now, what we're going to encounter is that we have a lifetime of experiences of ourselves even throwing in the towel and choosing not to believe. Well, we're going to have to overcome that habit, and immediately we're just going to have to choose to believe there are no limits. Just say it. There are no limits. I have no limits. Believe it, subscribe to it. Number two, tune out the voices. Now, when I talk about that, I talk about doubt, because with limits, when you have a dream or you're trying to overcome something, there's going to be all kinds of voices telling you, it's not possible. The negative result is probably what's going to happen. There's all these voices. If there's people telling you that your dreams are impossible or that you can't do it or that you have limits, tune them out. Distance yourself from them. They are not your tribe. Don't hang around them. Hang around people that tell you there are no limits for yourself, that you are capable of doing these things. Surround yourself with positivity. The other thing I tell you is this is just like when we consume food, we try to consume healthy food for our bodies. Well, guess what, folks? We need to consume healthy content for our minds and our hearts as well. If you're sitting around listening to TV or social media or the radio, what gets reported on is doom and gloom. For some reason, as people, we're attracted to that. That sells advertising, but that is not life. That is like 1/100% of life is the negativity, but that's what the news reports on. That's the majority of what we're bombarded with all of this messaging and communication during the day. Choose to put good content into your mind and your heart. Tune out the bad stuff, tune in the good stuff. Tune in those experiences, those people, those stories that tell you you are possible. You do not have limits. You are capable. Number three, you will fail. Do not be afraid of failure. Failure is a path to success. I always say, every time you fail, you're one step closer to succeeding. Albert Einstein said, failure is just success in progress. There's a gazillion different quotes, great quotes about failure. You should look them up, because people who have failed, people who have accomplished significant things have failed significantly in the pursuit of those. The bigger your dreams, the bigger your failures are going to be, and the more frequent your failures are going to be. Do you think somebody who wins a gold medal just never failed before? Wrong. They failed thousands and thousands of times in pursuit of that one accomplishment. That's the way large success, big epic dreams are accomplished, is through failure. But we learn, we get stronger and smarter. So remember that rule number 3, you will fail. And that is not a limit. That's not the end of the story. Number 4, refuse to quit. Now, failure and quitting are two different things. Failure means you have not accomplished your goal, but that's just the first go around. You need to pick yourself up, get back in the game, revise your plan, execute differently, and go back at it again and try again. You may fail a bunch of times and be stuck in this cycle. In my second book called The Success Cycle, it talks about that. I call this the resilience loop. Basically, you fail, you learn, you get stronger, smarter, you readapt, you modify your plan, and you re-execute differently. And you may go through this cycle many, many times. That's failure. Quitting is different. Quitting is pulling the plug and refusing to go on in that process. Refusing to use your resilience. Throwing in the towel. Stopping the effort. Stopping progress towards your goal. Refuse to quit. You just refuse to quit. Period, end of story. You will not quit. The only way that you will stop trying to accomplish your dream or your goal is you will die. That's it. That's the only way that your effort will stop. So just refuse to quit. Number 5, make relentless forward progress. What do I mean by that? So when I run races, one of the things I always say is I make relentless forward progress. I will not stop. I will not stall out. And when I talk about relentless forward progress, what I say is, when you run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, get somebody to drag you. Just do not stop moving forward. And that's what I'm talking about here with no limit living. You must continue to make relentless forward progress. Some days you'll feel like you just can't. And sometimes it will be just a thought. Sometimes it's going to be an active pursuit, active effort towards accomplishing your goal or overcoming whatever that adversity is or whatever that perceived limit is. You're going to continue to make forward progress to overcome that. So make relentless forward progress. Number 6, consistency. When I talk about consistency, it kind of goes hand in hand with relentless forward progress. But if you make consistent effort towards your goals on a daily basis, you will achieve consistent results. And the inverse of that concept is true. If you are inconsistent in your effort towards your goals and your dreams, you will achieve inconsistent results. So you need to consistently be making forward progress. You need to have a fire, a passion. There is no setting this on the sidelines or setting your dream or your life on the sidelines. If there's something that you perceive as a limitation of yourself, you need to consistently be making progress to overcome that. If you stop, if you let up, guess what? You are letting it win. And it may end up stopping you. But if you are consistent in your effort, you are going to consistently achieve your results. And it may not be the first day, it may not be the second week, it may not be a month, it may not be a year, it may not be this decade. But if you are consistent in your effort, eventually you are going to achieve consistent results. Consistency is absolutely critical and key. There's something out there, a concept I call about talkers and doers. Doers are consistent. Talkers are inconsistent in their effort. Talkers are consistent in talking, but that doesn't get things done. Doers are consistent in their effort. And doers are so busy doing, they don't have time to talk. So note that as well. Are you a talker or a doer right now? Because if you're setting out to accomplish something big, you need to be a doer. Be consistent. Number 7, there is no substitute for work ethic. There are no shortcuts for success. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Guess what? In order to be the best, you must work harder than the rest. I've experienced this in my running. I'm a guy, everybody kind of like wonders, how do you put up different performances or accomplish different things? Guess what? I'm the one who's out there at 2 a.m. in the morning. I take off from my house and I go run for 5, 6, 7 hours. or I'll go out and I'll run from sunrise to sunset. There's a lot of miles that I put on my body in order to be able to accomplish the running goals and feats that I do. I have to be at a certain level of fitness, and I need to train my body. That takes effort. That takes work ethic. In order to be the best, you must work harder than the rest. And I do believe that work ethic is the greatest equalizer for talent, for intelligence, for money, for name it, put it out there. Work ethic will equalize everything and anything. You just need to be able and willing to work your off. It will pay dividends. Look at any of the great success stories with boxers, with athletes, with certain musicians, with business moguls. It's work ethic. And I got to tell you, when you're setting out and there is a perceived limit, you are going to have to work your tail off in order to overcome it and in order to accomplish what you set out to. So get ready to work. Roll up your sleeves. Nothing great is easy. And once you accomplish what you've accomplished, and even if you fail in pursuit of that accomplishment, you will have pride and you will feel better. You will know how much effort you can put into something. And that in and of itself builds self-esteem and tremendous confidence, because even if you work hard at an athletic goal, you will be able to generalize that to a business pursuit or to a relational pursuit. I mean, think about it. How often do we have relationships that really take work? Relationships take work. But what if people aren't willing to work or to put in the effort or stay committed to something in other areas of their life? Guess what? That rolls over into relationships. And the vice versa is true too. They do that in other areas of their life. It's going to be across all areas of our life: personal, professional, spiritual. Number 8, together is better. So when you are confronted with, do I have limits? What are my limits? What is possible? Together is better. Don't go at it alone. Create a team. Surround yourself with people that believe in you, that are going to help you, that are going to support you, even if it's just sending you a note on a weekly basis saying, you can. Jason, you can do this. You need to make sure that you have a team. Don't go out trying to accomplish really, really crazy things alone. You can. It's going to be hard. You're going to set yourself up and you're going to be more apt to have more failures. If you work together with teams, if you share your shame, if you share your fear, if you are authentic and vulnerable with a group of people, you are going to have a better chance at success quicker, sooner, and larger. So remember that as you are trying to evaluate whether or not you have a limit or not. If you choose to do it solitary, guess what? That limit is going to be more difficult. It's not a limit, but it's going to be more difficult to overcome it. But if you choose to do it together with other people, with a team, create a group and go after that goal or accomplishment or overcome that adversity, it's going to be much easier to overcome and move past it. And the final point is, we are part of something greater. Now this gets pretty deep. When we are setting out, we're trying to evaluate whether there are limits or whether we have limits or whether there are limits with certain things. Just think about this from a historical perspective. Rewind back 200 years ago and think about the 4-minute mile. Could a human being run a 4-minute mile? No, it hadn't been done. Well, fast forward now. Now we have kids, young folks that are actually running sub 4-minute miles. It happens, but we can't fathom that 200 years ago. And when we look at this being part of something greater, we're not just an individual. We are humanity that is moving forward. And sometimes it takes generational movements forward in order to be able to demonstrate that there are no limits. Sometimes it may not be you that will demonstrate that it is not a limit. Sometimes it may be 2-3 generations down the line. We are part of something greater, but the accomplishments that you put into play will demonstrate that those limits actually are not there. Like think about Einstein's theory of relativity, and then think about the other smart people, astrophysicists, cosmologists that came after him, Stephen Hawking, that built upon Einstein's theories, and Einstein built upon other geniuses' theories. We are part of something larger. Sometimes it's not just us demonstrating that we do not have a limit. This is part of humanity in a larger consciousness. So I'm not sure what your faith system is or how you believe, but I think we can all agree that from a humanity perspective, we are part of something large. We are part of the same species that has been accomplishing just amazing things, amazing feats. Even in the last 100 years, look at everything that's been accomplished. Rewind back 100 years ago, they couldn't imagine I'd even be talking to you right now, the way that I'm communicating with you via this modem, via YouTube. But there are no limits. So take this home with you and think about this in different areas of your life, whether it's a personal pursuit, whether it's a professional pursuit, a relational pursuit, a spiritual pursuit. There are no limitations. If you subscribe to limits, you have quit before you've even tried. And I challenge each and every one of us, let that be a thing of the past. We do not have limits. Everything is and anything is possible. This is Jason Romero. Have a great day and a great 2021. Onward.